how do we request validation of a debt the right way? Because if you do it right once, you don't have to do it again. Debt validation is how you ask a collector to prove that the debt belongs to you, that they have the right amount, and they have the right to collect. It's used to get clarity, create a paper trail, which is very important when it comes to just disputing things in general, but also to protect your rights. There's nothing wrong with these companies trying to collect on these debts. Let's be honest, like, you were just irresponsible and you didn't pay the debt, okay? So they have their rights, but you also have yours. We don't need them harassing us. We don't need them just doing unlawful things to try to collect on these debts and annoying us. That's one of the main things that I hear with these collectors. They're annoying, they harass you, but we need to know our rights, because if we do handle this, if we do want to pay this, we want to make sure that it's being done correctly all the way across the board, on their end and on our end. We do not want to get taken advantage of. When it comes to debt validation, one of the first things, if you have a collection on your credit report, is, or even before it hits the report, but you know that you're getting notices and phone calls and things like that for this debt, is that you want to request validation through a letter. And this is the first step that I take with all my clients that have collections, is we always send a debt validation letter. Now, a must-have when you're sending this debt validation letter is you must identify the account, you must state that you're disputing the debt, you need to request validation in writing, and it needs to be sent within 30 days of first notice. That's best practice, right? So with that one in particular, you probably, even before the account got hit on your credit report, they might have sent you something in the mail saying, hey, we are a debt buyer trying to collect on this debt. Here's the amount. If you do not agree with this, please respond to this within 30 days of this notice. That's basically what that is. That's immediately when you want to send that debt validation letter. Now, when you're writing your debt validation letter, these are the non-negotiables that you must have within that letter to make it a proper debt validation request, okay? You want to include your full name and your mailing address. You want to include the collector's name and their mailing address. You want to include the account and the reference number. You want a clear statement disputing the debt. It doesn't have to be fancy. You just want a very clear statement that you're disputing the debt. You want to request validation under federal law. You want to request that the collection stop until validation. So when you send this letter out, you must clearly state that they must not contact you. Do not contact me until you validate this. And then you want to request that the credit reporting be paused or marked as disputed on your credit report. And that's something that these companies sometimes do not do, specifically marking it as disputed. Like when you send this debt validation letter out, from the time they get it, let's stick on a 30-day timeline. When you update your report again in 30 days, on these collection accounts, it must say disputed. If it doesn't, that's a violation, okay? Now, also within this letter, do not admit to the debt. You're simply just saying, you're including all that information that I just said, but you're simply just saying, I noticed this on my credit report. Can you please provide proof that I owe this? I just want some proof. I'm not saying I don't want to pay it. I'm not saying, you're really not saying it's yours, but you're just saying, can you prove this? I noticed this on my report. I don't know where it's coming from. And do not agree to pay in that letter. We're putting the burden of proof on them. They need to do their job. They want to collect, so they have to do their job.